Every summer, millions of people stand in their gardens with a hose, watering plants that should already know how to drink. And every year, those same plants fail. Not because you didn't water enough, not because you lack skill, but because the system you've been taught is broken. What if I told you there is a way to grow more food with less water, less effort, and almost no maintenance? A system so simple it was used thousands of years ago, and then quietly forgotten. In 1937, a British engineer filed a patent. No machine, no electricity, no moving parts, just a buried clay pipe and soil. It used a force you learned in school and never thought about again. Water moves upward, on its own, through soil, through roots, through life itself. He called it sub-irrigation, but he wasn't the first. Ancient Persian farmers buried clay pots beneath their crops. Chinese farmers used similar systems for centuries. Even Roman agriculture shows evidence of underground moisture control. And yet, somehow, every generation rediscovers this idea and then lets it disappear. Why? Because simplicity doesn't sell. Complexity does. Today, gardening has become an industry that tells you you need drip lines, timers, moisture sensors, smart irrigation synced to satellites, products that need replacing, maintaining, upgrading, products that turn a simple act, growing food, into a system you depend on. But what if the problem those products solve should never exist in the first place? Most gardens don't fail from lack of water. They fail from inconsistency. Too wet on Tuesday, bone dry by Friday. And plants don't live like that in nature. In a forest, the soil stays evenly moist, stable, predictable, alive. But in a typical garden, plants are forced into survival mode. Roots chase water instead of anchoring deep. Energy shifts from growth to stress. And the results? Cracked tomatoes, bitter cucumbers, bolting lettuce, split carrots, not diseases, not pests, just bad water delivery. Now imagine something different. A garden where you don't water from above because the water already lives below. A system where, at the bottom, a hidden reservoir holds water. Above it, soil draws that water upward naturally, slowly, consistently, continuously. No timers, no guesswork, no stress cycles. This is the self-watering bed, also called a wicking bed. And once you understand how it works, you can never unsee it. The secret is something called capillary action. The same force that pulls water up a paper towel, the same force that lifts water from roots to the top of a tree. In soil, tiny spaces between particles act like millions of microscopic straws. Water moves from wet areas to dry areas, always, without permission, without electricity. Without you, a wicking bed doesn't fight this process. It uses it. Picture this. Beneath your garden, a quiet reservoir of water. Above it, dark, living soil. At the surface, a layer of mulch protecting everything below. The sun beats down. The air dries. But beneath the surface, moisture stays, steady, cool, alive. Roots reach downward and drink exactly what they need. No more, no less. Now ask yourself, if this works so well, why isn't everyone doing it? Because a system like this ends the need for most gardening products. No daily watering, no emergency fertilizers, no constant replacements. It solves the problem at the root. And when you solve the root problem, you eliminate the need for everything built on top of it. That's not good for business. Think about it. A single tomato plant, properly watered, consistently, can produce 20 to 30 pounds of fruit. But under stress, maybe 8 pounds, maybe 4. or nothing. So what happens? You go back to the store, buy replacements, buy treatments, buy solutions, over and over again, not realizing the problem wasn't you, it was the system. A self-watering bed is simple. At the bottom, gravel or stones that hold water. A fill pipe that lets you pour water directly into that layer. An overflow hole to prevent flooding. Above that, a fabric barrier. Then a wicking column, soil that reaches down into the reservoir. Then your growing mix. And finally, mulch. That's it. You're not watering plants anymore. You're maintaining a reservoir. And the results? Tomatoes that don't crack, lettuce that doesn't bolt, cucumbers that taste the way they're supposed to. Plants don't rush. They don't struggle. They grow steadily, predictably, abundantly. But something deeper happens too. The soil comes alive. Microbes thrive in stable moisture. Fungi build networks. Nutrients cycle continuously. The system feeds itself. Year after year, it gets better, not worse. So why did we abandon systems like this? Because of machines. When tractors took over agriculture, fields had to be flat, uniform, efficient, mechanical, mounds, systems, natural variation. They got in the way, so they were removed. Not because they didn't work, but because they didn't fit the machine. And over time, we forgot. Now look ahead. Water is becoming more expensive. Restrictions are increasing. Climate is becoming less predictable. And yet, most people are still dragging hoses across dry soil every single day. There is a better way, and it's already been proven. Every household should build one of these, not as a hobby, but as a system, because it gives you control over your food, independence from rising costs, consistency in a world of unpredictability, and most importantly, it removes failure from the equation. If this is the kind of knowledge you want more of, systems that make life simpler, not more complicated, subscribe now. Because most of what we've been taught needs to be questioned. Let me ask you something. If a system like this has existed for centuries, why do you think it's still not the standard today? Tell me your thoughts. This isn't just about gardening. It's about how we solve problems. Do we build systems that depend on constant input, or systems that sustain themselves? Do we choose complexity, or understand simplicity? Beneath your soil, water is already waiting. The only question is, will you keep fighting nature, or finally let it work for you?